My name is Angela Panella. I'm a Jersey girl. And I'm going to go back to 2002. It was May 24th, 2002. I was working in Manhattan, New York City. It was my first job out of college. I took the bus home from the Port Authority station on 42nd and 8th. And I took that home to a beautiful place called Ringwood, New Jersey. It was like I said, it was my first job outside of college. And I was living at home with my parents. Got out of the bus into my car. It's probably about 2 minutes from home. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was a Friday before Memorial Day weekend. I really couldn't wait for the weekend to start. I think I had plans that day to maybe play in a beach volleyball tournament down at the Jersey Shore. I played Division I college volleyball. And so getting on the beach again after college was really important to me. So it was about 2 minutes from home. Life was going good. And then pow, boom, a reckless driver going over 55 miles per hour hit me head on. Going over 35 miles, going 55 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. He hit me head on. Changed my life in an instant. Paramedics came. They used the jaws of life. They cut me out of the car. I don't remember anything. Actually, there are some memories that I have. I'm not going to get into all those details. That's a story for another time. They saved my life. They medevac me to a level 1 trauma center, Hackensack University Medical Center. If any of you know where that is in New Jersey, it's an amazing trauma center. And that's where they saved my life. Some of the injuries, I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version of what happened to me. I had over 1,000 stitches to my face and my body. I've got some on my bicep here, little scars. I had 4 broken ribs. In fact, I was slumped over the console. I couldn't get to my cell phone because of these ribs being broken. The last thing I looked at before I lose consciousness was the blood on my hands. I remember that after going to EMDR therapy and going back to those memories to remove some of that trauma from my body and my brain, moving it from short-term memory to long-term memory. So when everybody has questions about EMDR therapy, come see me after the talk. Other things that happen, I had double vision. I was 23 years old, guys. I was walking with a walker. I lost my 20s. Gosh, there were so many injuries. Mesenteric contusion, which is your intestines, renal contusion. My lung was punctured. I lacerated my liver. My skull was stitched and stapled. And I had a severe traumatic brain injury. You wouldn't know that by looking at me now. Sometimes you can't see a TBI. Sometimes you can't see an acquired brain injury. That recovery period lasted, well, I was in surgical ICU, and then I went home and I was with my parents. The physical therapist came to the house because I couldn't move. My parents were giving me medicine every 4 to 6 hours. This is after I was out of the hospital. The physical therapist would come. Then eventually I was getting better. I had double vision. It was summertime. I was wearing a hat and a sweatshirt because I couldn't let any of the scars be exposed to the sun. And then, gosh, it was some time going to speech therapy, playing that game of memory. Who remembers the game of memory when you were like 5 and 6 and 7 years old, playing that with mom and dad? I was doing that at 23, getting my speech back. Eventually, through the healing, I did some neurofeedback therapy, which is amazing. I think everybody should get a brain mapping and do neurofeedback, whether you've had a TBI or not. That's a story for another time as well. Heart rate variability training, I do that most mornings. That's the milliseconds between each heartbeat to make sure that we're in more parasympathetic state. Our nervous system can be in survival mode, and my nervous system was in continuous survival mode. In fact, some of you might be in survival mode right now. We're just kind of going through the motions. So it's part of my life mission after that trauma. It gave me perspective on life, how fragile it is. It gave me purpose. It gave me more purpose. And that big purpose was to be a motivational speaker. And I made a decision after that accident that I was going to be a motivational speaker to inspire, educate, challenge, and motivate people to never stop believing in themselves and to teach them how to think. So when the curveball comes, whether it's a loss of a family member, something happens with the kids, you lose your job, you get hit by a car, you're driving recklessly, I don't know if he was texting and driving, but he wasn't paying attention. And so I want us all to pay attention behind the wheel, but that's another story for another day. Part of my life mission is to be an advocate and a bold, loud voice for the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation and really across the country. I've reached out to the Brain Injury Association of America. In fact, did you know that 2.5 million people every year suffer a traumatic brain injury? Suffer head trauma and a brain injury in the United States. And we need to know about that because it can happen every single day. Some of you I spoke with this morning know somebody that's had a concussion or a stroke. And so it's important that you guys know the resources here for those survivors and for their family members. So I'm going to invite Rosalind Knox up to talk a little bit more about the programs that we have and what we're doing to bring awareness, and then I'll wrap it up after her.
Thank you so much.